The H1B guy here. And before we get started, I just wanted to thank everyone for your feedback on my content and how I can get better for you. There's no doubt the H1B guy is a work in progress, but I'm going to keep working hard to make this channel better for you. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the H1B guy now. It helps this channel to bring you more content like this. Now, let's get to the H1B Guy Response. The most important thing we all need to remember is that what took place last Wednesday is just another example of American politics changing the course of U.S. history in the blink of an eye. This time it's centered around immigration benefits, specifically the green card backlog of employment-based preferences due to country of origin restrictions. I believe reform is evident and apparent. When and in what form that will be are still questions that are unanswered. Only time will tell, as we also have S38770 and HR 6993 that were both introduced in May. So back to the original question posed to the H1B guy on Twitter. Why did Senator Rick Scott object to unanimous consent of S386? Well, let's go back to Friday, July 31st, when Senator Scott accompanied President Donald Trump on Air Force One to a fundraising trip in Tampa, Florida, where Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and President Trump were headlining. Really not all that out of the ordinary, considering that Senator Scott is one of Florida's two Republican U.S. senators. It's also been no secret that Governor DeSantis and Senator Scott have a dynamic relationship. But both have been very vocal supporters of President Trump and have much larger political aspirations, and neither have been shy about that fact either. I'm not calling out any conspiracy theories, as we can all form our own conclusions about the conversations that most likely occurred on those flights between Senator Scott and President Trump. But what's very interesting is to see the timeline of events that unfolded, starting with the Bloomberg article breaking the story of the DOL and DHS memorandum of agreement that very same day. Following Monday's executive order signed by President Trump seeking the review of temporary foreign workers on federal contracts, including offshore, and strengthening the DOL's investigative authority on H-1B compliance, including third-party in-client sites with audits on LCAs to increase. Then on Wednesday, S386 hits the Senate floor. Bipartisan concessions were made, and the Senate was on the brink of unanimous consent. That was until Senator Scott objected and added an amendment that's being called the Rosetta Stone Amendment. Senator Scott went on to state that Florida is an immigration state. He wants to start with securing the borders, and that he's heard from many of his constituents, including those that came to Florida from Latin America and those fleeing communist China, and their concern with the bill. Offering an amendment that would not create an unfair system that favors certain nations, disadvantages immigrants that don't happen to be from the nations that are the largest drivers of employment-based visa backlog. He wants to preserve the diversity of our nation and asked his colleagues to accept his amendment. Senator Mike Lee from Utah was allowed to respond. And he started off with citing that the amendment creates a carve-out based on the language that they speak. He then asked, do their language skills qualify them for employment-based visa? He then let us know that the carve-out groups for language included Spanish, Portuguese, Haitian Creole, Taiwanese, Cantonese, Hokkien, and Hakka. Senator Lee claims that we would be fixing one problem to create another, undermining and contravening the fundamental purpose of S386. And here's what it really all came down to. Deciding how we're going to allocate employment-based green cards based on the country of origin does not make sense. Adding this amendment makes no sense, and it's wrong, Senator Lee concluded. Senator Scott then was allowed to take the floor again. He simply reserved the right to object due to not accepting his proposed amendment. He went on to state that his goal is to be fair to the many skilled people who want to live in our great country, and that he's spoken with the White House and they agree that they need more time to review the proposal and understand its impacts on our immigration system. Mic drop moment. The answer to our question in one sentence. He's spoken with the White House and they need more time to review. Politics at its finest. Honestly, this is what makes democracy such a beautiful thing. You could be so close, yet so very far away. Senator Scott has been a strong proponent of President Trump's administration, and his actions have proven that. It's also been rumored that Senator Scott has aligned himself to chair the National Republican Senatorial Committee in 2022. This has not yet been confirmed. Another point of mention is that Senator Scott's current term is through January 3rd of 2025. So why seek to add this unique amendment at the very last second? Did he know it would be objected, thus allowing him to object to the unanimous consent? It appears this was a political favor from Senator Scott to the White House. How it was constructed and by whom remains a mystery. There's no doubt Senator Scott was fully aware of the backlash he would receive by making this move. Just look at the action taken against Senator Durbin, warranted or not, in the last 2 weeks leading up to S386 being back on the Senate floor. And still, Senator Scott made the play. Really interesting that we witnessed back-to-back objections by separate senators from both parties while S386 was on the Senate floor. It really says a lot about the controversy that surrounds S386. Interestingly enough as well, Senator Durbin is actually up for re-election this year. Was he looking to remove the heat of blocking S386 off of his campaign? Another thing this move also provides is evidence that the current administration wants to slow play how it wants to address the percentages surrounding the employment-based green card preferences that have created a green card backlog based on country of origin, and also the language concerning the 50-50 rule for temporary foreign workers. Going to be very interesting to see how this plays out over the next few months. As of today, we are 85 days away from the presidential election, and 35 U.S. Senate seats are up for grabs. Will the current administration attempt to keep 386 suppressed? Time will definitely tell on that. I do just want to take a minute to say and let everyone know kind of what my opinion is based on this reform. And that's really to say that I am in favor of reform around the percentages of fiscal year green card allocation based on employment preferences. The current backlog is simply atrocious, and it's just not right. Do you agree or disagree with my opinion that Senator Scott objected to S386 unanimous consent because it was a political favor? Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think if you agree or disagree. Also wanted to mention no new video tomorrow, but check back on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time for another episode of the H1B Guy Live. Would you please join me? Would really love to have you come participate and ask questions in the chat while I'm live. I'd love to answer anything that you have and would love to hear me speak on. If you've made it this far, I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video and mention that the full post on why did Senator Scott object to unanimous consent on S386 is on the H1BGuy.com. As always, if you like this video, please subscribe to the H1B Guy and click the bell for notifications. The H1B Guy, your global source for all things H1B.